Hi, my name is Terence. I'll be performing advanced static analysis using IDA Pro today, and we'll do a code analysis of our malware. So over here I have a graph of what we're going to do today. So this will be the start subroutine, and you'll end over here at exit process. So where's that code? It's just right here, and we're going to jump into analyzing the codes very quickly right now. So in the start subroutine, this is what the malware is going to do first. It's going to initialize a bunch of common controls, which is some basic window common controls, and right after that, initial and calling only initialize, which also brings in a bunch of extra common controls. So right after that, we are going to call this little method called shgetFileInfoA, and what this does is it gives us a bunch of file info of this file and also the attributes of this file. So right after that, we are going to call for this subroutine, and it's going to call string copy A, and that what does that do is that it copies the info and attributes that we have just called. So after that, we get the temporary path of the file where it was residing in, and right after that, there will be a test of EAX here, and if it's 0, it will move on to this little section over here right after the start subroutine, and then we are going to get the Windows directory of that file, and then it will return us a temp address, and we are going to push lp string 1 into edp, and also calling this method here lstring cat a, and what does that do is that it will append the temp address along with lp string 1 and returning us another string. So we're going to test EAX again, and this time around, if it's not 0, it will move on to this new subroutine here. In this subroutine, we're going to push in ESI, which is LP file name, and we're going to delete the file away. What this does is that it will make it hard to trace where the file went to because we deleted it, and analysis are not able to retrieve the file because of this. Next, we are going to get command line, and also we're going to copy the command line. And then right after that, we're going to push in a module name under EDI, and of course we're going to get the handle of that module. And next we're going to move the we're going to move EAX into the module, and so on and so forth. And right after that, we're going to jump into this little subroutine over here, 403870, and basically inside here we're just going to call this method character next A. So we're just going to return a pointer to the next character in the string, and after that there'll be a bunch of codes to move around locations in the malware, and we will arrive eventually at this subroutine over here, 40397D, and in here we're going to call only uninitialize. Oh, sorry, we're going to call close handle first, so we're going to close the handle that we were handling at first, and then after that we will call for only uninitialize, and so we're going to close all COM controls that we have used and do a quick test of EVX here, and if it's 0, we'll move over here, and if it's not 0, we'll move here. So in this part, the malware does two different things here, and we're going to look into if it's not 0 first, and basically in here is a while loop, and we're going to see what do they do in the while loop. So we'll first exit the process of what we're doing at first, and we're going to create a new directory, nsu.tmp, and we're going to have a file name au_.exe inside this directory. And what does this file do is that it can be malicious, we do not know yet, and it can actually capture and monitor screen, the user screen, and also the user's input from the keyboard and mouse. So after that, we're going to delete this LP file name that we're going to push in, and the file is going to be deleted. Once again, is to leave traces of it, is to leave no traces of it, and so it's hard to actually see where the file went. And right after that, we're going to jump into the next section under this submodule here, and what is going to happen here is that we're going to push a file name into EDI and a module into H module. So we're going to get the module and the file name together, and then we're going to push in LP string 1 and 2, and we're just going to compare the strings all together here. and test EAX again, and we'll jump into this next section here, and we're just going to copy the file of the file that was found in the module over here, and a bunch of codes to move around will be conducted, and we'll eventually arrive here at 403A5A. And over here we're gonna push in this part, this string first, this slash, and then LP string 1, LP string 2, and a bunch of special characters to go with it, and then also some current directory and command line. And at the end, we will always be using L string cat A to append all of the strings together. And then finally, we will arrive with one whole string together of everything that we have added up here with the special characters and string 1, string 2. And then we're going to close the handle over here so that we have finished our process of doing everything before that. So next we'll move to 403A9B. This subroutine will call for au_.exe again, and this time around it's going to increment the byte of the pointer for au_.exe. So this is a while loop, and there will be also this little variable here, and it will be incremented. And so at the end we're going to compare its final value with 1AH, and if it's less than that, we are going to go back to 4039C6. We're going to delete the file again, and then we're going to get to this point where we increment the variable again until the variable is more than 1AH. Only after that we jump off the loop, we'll come here, and then we'll go back to this subroutine over here. And so once when we test EVX, and if it's 0, we can finally move on to this subroutine here, where we will actually be able to find out what the malware can actually do. So over here, we'll jump into this subroutine, and we'll go on to this function, this section of the subroutine over here, and it calls for advapi32.dll. And right after that, it's going to push an offset of prop name, which is open process token. So process tokens are actually tokens that contain security information of the user. So what the malware is trying to do here is to open this process token and get the information of the user. And also over here, it's going to push the offset of a look UPP privilege. So what this does is that it's going to look up for the privilege value A, and you actually can after that adjust the token privileges. So this actually robs the user of their control over the computer, and it gives the malware a full control over the user's computer right after that. So just before that, you get a module handle A before each offset will pushed, and right after that, yeah, module handle A will be called again, and then finally we're going to move on, and a bunch of comparisons will take place, and moving of location, get current process of what we are doing here, which is basically changing the privileges of the user and preventing the user to be able to have control over their computer actually. And then right after that, we're going to do this SE shutdown privilege. This offset here actually allows the malware to shut down the user's computer at any point of time they want to. And right after that, over here we have exit Windows EX, and so this is actually part of SE shutdown privilege. And once this is called, the shutdown privilege will take place, and then the malware will just execute this exit Windows EX code, and the user cannot do anything but just have his computer shut down just like that by the malware. So after that, a bunch of moving locations again, and finally under here we have exit process, which is the end of the whole malware, and this is where everything will stop. So basically this malware is a spyware, and it's able to take control of a user's computer, and also is able to maybe get information out of what the user types, such as user inputs and stuff. And yes, AUEXE could be what it's actually doing in order to get the user inputs. So yes, this malware is actually a spyware as we are concerned of, and to perform further analysis, we may be able to find out what it actually really does. So in the next video, we'll be talking about basic dynamic analysis, where we run the malware using a bunch of software to actually find out what the malware can do. So thank you for your time.